Hey friends, it is not only another day of MS Awareness Month, but it is also St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patty's Day. I hope you all are having a great Saturday, wearing your green and enjoying the day. So I figured it was so appropriate to have a special edition of this video series highlighting the greens in our diet. Really the benefits of them. We know they're good for us, but what exactly are they doing? What are the different types of greens that are important to get in our diet, and how do we get them in if we're not a big fan of veggies to start off with? So first things first, the benefits of them. If you've heard me talk before, I have mentioned the Wahls Protocol. Dr. Terry Wahls is a physician out of Iowa. She was diagnosed with MS years ago with relapsing remitting, and then it progressed to secondary progressive. She found herself in a wheelchair, decided that was not how life was going to go down for her. She poured herself into the research, identified key nutrients that were really beneficial for brain health, specifically for MS, and first converted those nutrients into supplement form, and then she converted them into food form. Once she converted it into that food form, meaning that she found the certain number of nutrients that she needed to achieve that optimal healing brain health, she brought herself from a wheelchair to a bike ride in 1 year, and again, she has replicated that over and over again, similar situations in many clinical trials. So that's a quick background on her. I mentioned it in this context because the premise, or basically the foundation of her protocol, is that you get 9 cups of vegetables in a day. That sounds like a lot, because it is. And she not only says 9 cups of vegetables, she's also very specific about which types of vegetables you get in. So she wants you to get 3 cups of leafy green, 3 cups of deeply colored, and 3 sulfur rich. The leafy greens we're going to go into. The deeply colored, that's anything that has the pigment, that color of whatever the produce, the fruit or vegetable is, straight through to the center, to the core of it. And then the sulfur rich, that's a lot of like the garlic, the onions, and vegetables like that. So I can go more into those latter two a little bit later, but today, in honor of St. Patty's Day, as I said, we're going to go into the leafy greens. Leafy greens are so beneficial for your body. We hear it all the time. They are rich sources of phytochemicals that have powerful benefits, everything from anti-cancer properties to anti-inflammatory properties. They're better for your brain health. They're good for eye health. They're good for liver health. They help balance out your hormones. They're good for your skin health. I mean, there's so many benefits to them. And I always love when I start to hear all the benefits of the things that food are doing for my body, because then we start to look at the other food in a different way, something that may be in a package, and begin like, what are you doing for me? And we realize that oftentimes the food that comes in a box, a bag, something like that, is detracting from our health. It's not supporting our health and our healing. So take a look at all those foods that you're eating and really ask yourself, is this something that's taking me in the direction of improving my health, or is this pulling me away from my health goals? Obviously, we want things that are going to get us just a little bit closer to achieving those health goals and really creating a healing environment in your body. So I mentioned all the phytochemicals that the leafy greens have, but they are especially rich in vitamins B, A, C, and K. So those B vitamins are going to be really good for your nervous system. The A vitamins, or the precursor to A vitamins, are going to be phenomenal to support healthy immune function. Your vitamin C's, of course, we know vitamin C is phenomenal for our immune health. It's good for skin. It's good for healthy gums. And then the vitamin K. Vitamin K is actually really good for not only reducing blood pressure, but the antioxidants in it also are incredibly powerful for helping to reduce your risk of cancer. So a lot of good benefits to these leafy greens. And of course, the other thing so essential for MS is that the vitamin K can also be really helpful for your brain health. So good things there. So, all right, we know the benefits of them. We know that we should be getting 3 cups of leafy green vegetables in a day. We know that they're rich in vitamins B, A, C, and K, and all of the benefits that those provide, from anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, improving our health, improving our brain health, eye health, skin health, all those good things. So what's a good way to get them in? If you don't like greens, I get it. It's not the one that we're most often running to when we're thinking about what we're gonna have for lunch or dinner, and certainly not what we're gonna have for breakfast. But there's a lot of ways that you can mix them in beyond a straight salad. Obviously, the salad is the obvious. You fill a bowl with some good leafy greens and then load it with some other vegetables on top. But you know, there's a lot of other ways that you can get them in. Let's first take a look at the different varieties. So I think I've mentioned before, I always get one of these packs here at Wegmans. It's the grocery store that I shop at most often, but wherever you're going, a lot of the grocery stores now are having these containers of organic leafy greens. You definitely want to get organic because if you can afford it, because the greens are often on the Dirty Dozen list. If you're not familiar with that, EWG.org, Environmental Working Group, puts out a list every single year of the produce, the fruits and vegetables that are quote unquote the dirtiest, the ones that require the most pesticides, herbicides, all those different things, and then the ones that are cleanest, the ones that just by nature and how they're grown, they don't require a lot of chemicals on them. So those are known as the top 15, the clean 15. So I often recommend, when you're determining what you want in terms of organic, look at the Dirty Dozen list. Identify what you eat most of on that list, and then start there. Start to choose that item as organic, and then work your way through that list so that everything on that Dirty Dozen list is something that you are getting organic. If you're spending money on something organic that's on the Clean 15 list, but yet there's something that you're eating conventionally on the Dirty Dozen list, you definitely need to swap those because you're not investing your money properly there. So EWG.org has that list, and most often the leafy greens are on there. So the spinach, the chard, kale, all those different things. So organic is a good way to go, but I also like to get a good variety in. So each week I will either get 1 to 2 different options of the leafy greens. This one I picked up today is the spring mix. So it has a variety in here. It has romaine, it has spinach, chard, beet greens, collard, kale, all kinds of different things. And then this one over here, this is just straight kale. This is the Italian style kale. And then I think I've shown you guys this one before. This is the super greens. So this has spinach, chard, kale. I like to get the variety because not only does it give me an opportunity to have a good variety of flavor, and sometimes even a different variety of texture, but it also, each green is going to have a slightly different nutritional profile. So the darker the green, the more nutrient rich it is. That's why if you look at something like iceberg, it's not going to have a whole lot of nutrient value to it, where something like a dark kale leaf is going to be super nutrient dense. So make sure that you are getting some type of leafy greens each time you go to the grocery store. With these, as I mentioned, what I'll do is I will take off this plastic lid here, and then I'll often put a paper towel underneath of that and then shake it up every time I use it. It helps to manage the moisture level in there, so I think it stays fresh just a little bit longer. And then in terms of how to use them, how to get them into your diet. So as I mentioned, obviously you can do the salad. That's kind of like a straightforward way to do it. You also can put them in a smoothie. So we'll definitely do a Thirsty Thursday on smoothies, but if you are adding them in and you haven't tried it before, I would recommend starting with a few leaves of spinach. Spinach is a green that you really don't taste too much when you're adding it to a smoothie. Kale does have more of a bitter flavor to it, so you will have a stronger flavor if you're adding kale versus spinach. But you don't taste kale too much. And on a day like today, when it's St. Patty's Day, it's totally appropriate to have a green beverage. If the idea of a green beverage kind of freaks you out, or if you're trying to get it to incorporate into the kids' diets, and they're not down with like the green Monster type drink, just put it in a glass that you're not going to see the color of and put a straw in, and then you don't have to see it. So you're not going to taste it, and then you don't have to see it. I personally don't mind the color. I think that it's now fun to get a nice rich green color beverage there. So you can get them in salads, you can get them in smoothies. You can also add them to soups, and one of the things that I do is, especially I pretty much make all of the soups that I have homemade through the crock pot, because it's just the easiest way to do it. But I'll heat the soup, and then once I'm serving it, I'll put a few leaves of spinach or kale or whatever it is in at that point, because the greens don't necessarily need to be cooked. Just putting them in the hot broth is enough to soften them. But I feel like it still retains a lot of the key nutrients in there, because the longer you cook something, the more likely you are to cook a lot of the nutrients out of it. So that's where the whole debate comes in terms of the raw food movement. They believe that, and it's true, that if you're having something raw, you're going to have more of the live enzymes to it. I don't believe that you need to go all raw, because one, that can be hard on your digestive system if you're just having raw vegetables or raw foods. But you're also getting, you're making some nutrients more bioavailable if you are cooking them. So spinach, for example, you will get more nutrients, more magnesium and other key nutrients when you cook it. So if you are steaming up a little spinach, put a little bit of lemon and then olive oil on top of it. The heating it is going to make more nutrients available to you. Adding the olive oil is going to allow you to absorb, the fat in the olive oil will actually allow you to absorb some of the vitamins in there a little bit more. So I think it's always helpful to get a good variety. Have some that's raw, have some that's heated, and all the suggestions that I've mentioned so far give you that option. The salad and the smoothie are obviously raw. Adding them to a soup heats it up a little bit. You can have them as a side dish, certainly. Saute them up and have it as a quick side dish. That in and of itself is fantastic. If you're coming home and you don't have a whole lot of time, spinach is one of the easiest and fastest things to heat up. And then, what was the other one that I was going to mention to you guys? It was the soups, the smoothies, the side dish. I don't know. It'll come to me. But yeah, I mean, I know what I was going to say for the omelets. Breakfast is one of those things where you really need an opportunity to find a way outside of that smoothie to get some vegetables in. Add it into an omelet, especially if now I get it, if you don't have a whole lot of time every single morning to make an omelet, not many people do, but you can make those egg muffin omelets. So essentially what you're doing is you're making an omelet batter, so you're whipping up the egg and then get a muffin tin tray and put the eggs that are all beat up into the muffin tin, and then put your toppings in there. So you can put some spinach, some onions, some mushrooms, whatever it is. Heat that up, and then out of it, because it's in that muffin tin tray, you pop them out and they look like little omelets that are in the shape of muffins. So that's a quick and easy way to not only get some protein, but get some greens in without gnawing on a salad at 6 o'clock in the morning. So really get creative with it. I encourage you to pick up a new type of green if you haven't been to the grocery store yet today, or just next time you go, and try a new way to get some greens into your diet this week. It's great for your health, as we've mentioned, and it's also nice to celebrate and cheers in St. Patty's Day. Hope you guys enjoyed this information. As always, if you know somebody with MS or another autoimmune, please tag them, share this on your page, comment, like, all those good things. You guys are really helping to build this community that is growing and growing each and every video, each and every post. Thank you so much. Hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you later. Happy St. Patty's Day. Bye.